Hello, thanks for watching another random palm reading. This palm was sent to me with the statement, I find this palm difficult to read. And a lot of them, and this is a great little sort of case study because it's an excellent example of a difficult palm to read. Because, part of the reason why we have all these sort of categories in the different schools of thought in palmistry, the Fred Getting system of four, the Darpantigny and Desborales' system of six with the seventh mixed hand thrown in. There's other systems out there as well. And the reasons why we have those is because it makes it much easier and much neater for us to understand what we're dealing with, because there's just so much information in the palm. And this palm it doesn't fit into any of the systems of four. We've got, we've got a long palm, but the fingers aren't actually long or short. So that kind of throws out the system of four right away. I could put my own spin on it, which I often do, and decide on a main element and a sub element. So I've got my own system of 16, which I've sort of built on Fred Getting's system of four. However, this is certainly a mixed hand. We've got overall it's a it's spatulate. That's a terrible example. It's spatulate, as in that it's wider at the bottom of the base of the palm. It's squarish, isn't it? It's squarish. It's very sort of angular. It's rectangle overall, certainly, but it's wider at the bottom, at the base of the palm, which shows us a spatulate palm. This is someone who, generally speaking, needs challenges and likes to do things in different ways, than the rule book. They pick up the rule book and then think, okay, well, this is good. I'll go with this for a while, and then find ways to build on it and rewrite that rule book. So, there's that squareness in terms of, organization. You've got a nice angle here, nice angle there. They're very sort of regimental in certain ways, but then there's in another way they like to challenge themselves, find new challenges, rewrite the rules and move on. So there's that aspect about it, but then also the fingers are very sort of conic as well, which goes with a very sort of intuitive and artistic, the focusing more on the unconscious, the ulnar side of the palm, the more creative and unconscious side of the brain, the right side of the brain, and a very long thumb as well. So, it's clearly a mixed hand. If I had to throw this into one of the categories of the system of six, I'd say this is a psychic hand. And there's generally two different types of psychic palms. There's those that are very sort of inward and self-centered and quite sort of tyrannical. I'm not selling this really, and then there's those psychics that are very sort of outward and empathetic and aesthetically pleasing palms, softer palms, which is what we have here, and they the mixed blessing about being a psychic is that they're more, the things they feel in others, they feel themselves. So all that negativity they soak up themselves in others. When someone's feeling sad, they also feel sad, and it's hard to leave those thoughts. They carry their work home with them in that respect. They probably worry too much about their health. They're generally quite anxious people, fear-driven people. They live in the future. They're anxious, always worrying about things that don't necessarily need to be worried about. They're very imaginative, and that goes in. It coincides with the ulnar side of the palm, this unconscious, creative, intuitive, dreamy, imaginative, unconscious world. And they tap into that often. The headline reaches right into that, as this one does. And they often have a susceptibility to illnesses as well. And this I think is sort of it's the price they pay for their ability to perceive and be intuitive and sense. So their central nervous system is it's firing on all cylinders, And that's why they're often intuitive, because the nervous system is how we sense. It's our network. And so, they're more susceptible to illnesses. Their immune system is generally on the weaker side, and they worry about their health as well a lot, which makes sense. They're in tune with their bodies, or at least they understand the real dangers of it, and they have the ability to imagine these dangers at length. And they have susceptibilities to throat issues, lung issues, and nervous issues. So asthma, bronchitis, and frustratingly, annoyingly, difficult to diagnose diseases, or autoimmune diseases as well, like fibromyalgia, that sort of thing. Sciatica as well as another. I know that's completely different, but these things that plague us chronically, nervous and affect the nervous system. So I've talked I've talked a little bit about that kind of one of the types of hands in another system I don't often use, and that's the psychic hand. And this person is a mixed hand. So whilst they have a lot of these sorts of things that I've mentioned, not all of it applies, and it's difficult to sort of pin a person down when they don't fit into any one category. You can't filter through the information of the major Palmer lines, the life, the head, and the heart. The rules don't seem to apply as much with a mixed hand, because whilst the psychic hand is generally quite impractical and unpredictable in a lot of cases, we don't see that here, because we've got, as I say, we've got the sharp angle of Luna, we've got the sharp, that's an awful example, angle of time, angle of proficiency, and overall we've got a very sort of squarish palm, but then the fingers themselves reveal a different nature, a different side to them. So I imagine this person is a very complex person, and it's easy for me to say that, isn't it? Everyone's complex in their own way. It doesn't explain anything. But I think this person is and can be two very different people at the same time. They can be very practical, very logical, and very reasonable and objective when dealing with people they don't know. With dealing with people they do know, I think they're probably quite bossy, and could be quite dominant, perhaps without meaning to be, because it's just a case of doing what's needed in the moment, and what's necessary. And I think they probably feel how they're coming across in they sense that in others, potentially. Now, I wouldn't normally say that, but we do see here a couple of signs which kind of strengthen the general sort of psychic hand we see here. It's not massively strong, but there is some sort of ring of Solomon, an understanding, an ability, and an aptitude to soak up information of the occults, in the mystic arts, if you like. There's an intuition line as well, which is quite strong, or a sympathy line, if you like. Yeah, it's a sympathy line, it's an intuition line. So that builds on what we already have here. We have some high intuition anyway. The headline reaches right into Luna, particularly a place of memory and planning. And Luna itself is well developed, especially Pluto. As I say, we've got this, well developed angle on the lunar mount there. I mean, some people refer to it as Luna, some people refer to it as Pluto. It's a sort of deeper pocket of Luna, Pluto, right at the bottom, the heel of the hand right here. And it's a place of sort of ancestral memories. And with a headline that reaches this, with a beautiful curve like this, it certainly shows some artistic ability, some creative abilities there. The the Apollo finger tends to lean towards this hard-working Saturn. This person is definitely a hard worker, very practical, very yeah, just hard-working. I'm just gonna say that I don't think this person loves rules. So again, that kind of goes against the squareness of their palm. The Saturn finger isn't actually long when compared with the other fingers, which shows they abhor bureaucracy and religious doctrine. But it's not incredibly so, but I just don't think that they are one to stick to the rule books, which again, coincides with what we've said about the spatulate base of the palm here. They like to rewrite these rules. And this angle of proficiency, the angle of time and proficiency on the back of the thumb, it certainly shows an ability to use the hands in a way that's creative. It shows a deftness with the hands. Is that the right word? An ability to use the hands well in crafting. And, in line with this headline and the intuition here, we've got a lot of focus around how to become happy from the heart line there. The success line stemming from the heart line is another indicator of success in an artistic field. So again, I think we see an artist of some sort here. And I think this person is very driven. I wouldn't say this person is ambitious to the point of, being sort of overly dominant. But I do think this is the sort of person that we've got a natural leader. The Jupiter finger, it reaches past halfway of the first phalanx of Saturn. It certainly reaches higher than Apollo. This is a very dominant person in relationships, and they might find there's difficulties there in relationships because, generally speaking, with this sort of type of person, with this length of Jupiter and other characteristics going on, they might find that, a weaker partner they're going to get irritated by, and at the same time, having a partner who is more dominant, they're not going to get on with. So I think this person might struggle in finding a match that's suitable for them in life. There might be relationship issues inherent in all sorts of relationships they get involved with. And this is quite unfortunate for them. It's complex. And the Jupiter finger, certainly this type of Jupiter finger, and I wouldn't say this is a many-lined hand, but there is some anxiousness going on. I wouldn't say this is an incredibly anxious person or someone that lives necessarily constantly in the future. I wouldn't say this is a fear-driven person, but there is some fear there, and I think it could be possible that some of these fears are actually the result of their problems. And the need to be in control can sometimes create issues as well, and that's what we see here around the Jupiter finger. It's immensely useful in the working environment, in a social environment. This Jupiter finger, and I think, as I say, being a natural leader, I don't think this person needs to raise their voice to be heard. I think people come to them with issues because they feel that they know this person has the right answers, and this person does in a lot of cases because they have great instincts, excellent instincts. I think where this person might struggle with those instincts is closer to home in relationships and in friendships as well. And I think this person does have a very small circle of friends. They keep a very small circle of friends close. Everyone else isn't worth the time. They express themselves as Mercury overall leans away. they express themselves in isolation. So I think they might work towards something. I'm guessing, bit of a guesstimation here, that this person is an artist in terms of, um, the obvious visual kind of painter artist rather than. It's possible, but I can't quite see that the tip of Apollo properly. I'd like to see it at a slightly different angle, but I think this person works on something that's very visual. So rather than wood sculpting or pottery, could be pottery, but I think this person works in some sort of visual arts. It could be fashion. I think it's this person's a painter. But the little finger on the right, I've only been sent the right palm here. It doesn't quite reach the first phalanx of Apollo, which shows there is some, and it's a low set little finger, which shows that there is some growth here around, there's a need to develop expression and communication. Not so much expression, I think in this case it's more communication. They're good at voicing their message to those closest to them, their small circle of friends, but everyone else, I think their wider message has yet to be fully developed. Their ability to reach out to the wider world. They're certainly not a public speaker. As I say, I don't think this person needs to raise their voice. They are a very deep thinker, and that's evident by this. This is a very strong thumb, and a strong Jupiter and a strong thumb. I mean, this person could do a great many things in their life. All you need really is a strong Jupiter and a strong thumb to achieve in life. Not necessarily be happy or healthy, but this person could achieve great many things in their career. This sort of thumb, I mean, it's very well developed. We've got it's just a good thickness, a good length of it's just equal proportions. This person is has the motivation and the will to put their ideas, which are many, into practice. And I don't think this person is. I think this is an excellent organizer. We've got outer Mars here, or upper Mars, as it's sometimes called. I get confused because there's several names for the inner and outer Mars, and upper Mars, and Mars negative, Mars positive. But this is outer Mars, certainly. It's strong, as is inner Mars as well. This certainly shows, and I think this is a bit of a concaved, slightly concaved amount of central Mars, which shows this person is quite. Yes, this is again the Apollo leaning towards work. Their ability to create relies on their working life. All the other way around, their ability to work relies on their creative abilities, perhaps. And it requires planning as well, and a lot of drive. I think this person perhaps works very hard, and I think there were issues around their work life because of home life. There's two separate events here. What do we call these? They're obstacle lines, and they come from a place of family. They come from the home life, a relationship. In it's either marital or it's a relationship at home. A family event has stopped or been an obstacle in this person's career, which means so much to them. And actually, I think it stopped their temporarily their ability to succeed earlier on. There's many skills here. And I'm not entirely certain what these issues were, because they weren't brought completely out into the open. So we've got one here at around the age of 35. It's that classic pinnacle year in people's lives. I see it in so many hands. That age of around 35 to 36, where all the karmic hens, all the eggs hatch, I suppose, and it either goes all very wrong or all very right, or both. It's a crazy time, and there's a need to protect mental health at that time and career. And again, it stems from the family. Something happened here, and it could be that this person's no, it could be an issue with the health of a child, one of their children, if they have children. Haven't really looked into that. Possibly have one child. It's hard to see, and I don't really rely too much on those lines. It could be an issue with the partner leaving them, or them leaving their partner, something like that. And it was a very stressful time. It affected their life. Here, it affects their career and their mental health. It was a difficult time for them. Things got kind of put on hold a little bit, and just trying to see. There aren't any kind of correlating, any sort of corroborating signs there on the heart line necessarily that showed us, but we have, it looks like, a change in career after 35-ish, because it looks like this person had a day job, had a hobby, and everything stopped. Everything changes, massive changes here. And even after this point, the headline, does it take a different approach? It seems to, there's a need for money at that time, which makes sense really if your career is put on hold a little bit. And then after sort of 40-ish, there's, let's get back to where we were and concentrate on what's important. Reaching into this beautiful, rich well of thoughts and dreams and imagination to inspire and create the work they do. And yes, after 35, 36-ish, there's and it kind of comes from more of this lunar sort of place, a career stemming more in what they want to do, more in what they're good at. And then again, at around maybe 42-ish, there's this sort of another issue, it seems, and it kind of comes from the family ring again, it seems. And this Mars, inner Mars, if you like, I'm not going to get it wrong if I say that, it's the place of motivation and drive and anger. It's when we need to fight a battle, we need to come from this area, and it's well developed. So I wonder if there was some anger connected to the event that occurred at home at this time. But again, there's a need to protect here the career. However, coming out of this, there's success, there's happiness. I'm sort of reading as I go here. And there's certainly great ambition early on in life. I think this person knew what they wanted to do from very early on and has strived to do it ever since. And you can see the career line quite literally takes a beautiful curve there into a place of creativity, but not just creativity, creating. and happiness. What makes this person shine? It's the sun in their life, it's the happiness in their life, it's certainly stability, it's money, it's all things, money related as well, because that's what brings stability and happiness to some degree. But a career line that curves over like this into Apollo certainly shows this artistic ability put into practice in their career as well. So that's nice to see. And we can certainly see that there is some material, that they understand the importance of, value in things. They know that the effort they put in is, they know the value of their own work. And they understand that effort equates to money, and they understand that well. So, they are a bit of a reinventor in their field, and it'd be really interesting to know exactly what they do. But where they could improve on their life, it seems, just from looking, is, and I've just noticed this absolutely fantastic intuition line here, and it's faint, but it's there. You don't see that all too often. And again, that coincides with this. What we're looking at here is, generally speaking, a psychic hand, the very intuitive person. This intuition is sort of, it's also an ambition line in a way. It's a bit of both. They sort of sense what it is that needs to happen and what to do. So where they need to make some improvements, I feel, in their life is to build on their own ability to communicate closer to home, to family, and in relationships, to speak their mind rather than get built to hide away in their own thoughts, rather than face the difficult conversations that aren't fun to have and that are going to hurt feelings. It's sometimes best to be transparent and get those thoughts and feelings out, and it might open up doors. What else? It might strengthen bridges at home and in relationships. In terms of health, it could, as I say, psychic hands have a susceptibility to lung issues, and I think this person might have some sort of lung issue. It could be something as simple as asthma, or just a susceptibility to lung issues. Let's see, what does that mean? It could be that this person was cheated on, their partner cheated on them. It was never sort of made public in any way. I think they kind of just went a bit sort of introverted afterwards. Maybe, anyway, I'm not entirely certain. I think this might be an emotional issue. It's really hard to know. And I don't like making guesstimations. I don't like saying things unless I'm sure. And I've done a lot of saying things without being completely sure in this palm here. There's a desire to travel later on in life, which this person will do, some short-term travelling. There'll be one impactful travel, which looks like here anyway. That's a restless line of some sort, and you can see here reaching away towards Luna, the place of travel. It's, as I say, it's a massive expanse of water, and in order to travel, sometimes we need to cross waters. And whether or not it's for work is another thing, but it will be quite impactful on them. And these sort of upward strokes here, you can just about see, reaching over from the Jupiter mount onto the Saturn area, its place of guiding and planning and work and being sort of upstanding. So this is leading and this is guiding. I think it's showing that this person is a leader of some sorts. They're guiding others in some sort. I think they're a bit of a mentor in their field, but not necessarily. I don't think that's where their job. If the career line rolls more over into Jupiter, then they would kind of end up in this place of authority and end up in a place of a leadership role. I think naturally, by their nature, they're a natural leader. But that's not the kind of role that they're going to fall into, because that's not what they have perceived for themselves. They already know what it is they're going to do, and they're going to do it because they can achieve anything. So thanks for watching this random palm reading. I hope I've made a bit of sense here, and I hope I've been right. So I'm going to ask this person for a bit of feedback, and we'll see. The last random palm reading I did, I think it was number 13, perhaps 12 or 13. Not sure what we're on now. They were really thankful and gave me some excellent feedback and told me where I went wrong, which wasn't, thankfully, in all that many places. But it always helps me understand where how to improve as a palmist. So please give me a feedback and let me know what I got wrong and what I got right, and it's just so valuable to me. But thankfully, so far, everyone's been very grateful for their readings, and it appears I'm doing a good job so far. So far, so good. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe and hit that notification bell. I'm doing all I can to kind of build this channel, and I can't do it without you. So thank you for all your attention. I'm loving it, and I'm learning a lot, and I'm learning quickly, and I hope that others are learning too, because that's the whole point of this, and I hope it's also enjoyable. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.